hi, and welcome to my shop. And we're going to be doing a number of things in this video. Primarily, we're going to be repairing this guy here. But a couple other things we're going to do is we're going to compare this device to this device, and we're also I'm going to talk a little bit about the video situation here in my shop / video studio. And hey, I didn't post any videos yesterday, at least I didn't shoot any, because I spent the whole day experimenting with the video setup I have here in my studio. And I learned a ton of stuff, and for the first time I think I actually have a grip on what I'm doing video-wise. I think I understand all the important elements, the critical ones. I'm sure there's lots more to learn, there always is, but I think I got a grip on video. So what I'm going to do in terms of video, as I shoot this in little segments, each segment is going to be shot with different video settings. And I'm going to count on you, who's viewing this video, to let me know which of these settings produced a reasonable output that you like looking at, and which ones didn't. And it's all about how sharp is the image and how much stuttering is there in movement in the image. And you should see right now a pretty good shot. So right now I'm starting with low resolution. It's 640 by 480. It's not considered high definition. High definition is just a category that somebody made up. There's just varying resolutions. They get higher and higher, and at some point you go over this visible line and somebody declares it high definition. So there really isn't any such thing. There's just better and better and better. So right now I'm at 640 by 480, and we're going to start looking at these two gizmos here now. These are both microphone mixers, and the reason I have the two of them on here is to make a comparison and to raise some questions. So we're just going to look at this one. There's nothing wrong with this guy. I've had this since I was in my 20s. Look, the thing is beat up like heck. I've done so much with this. It's powered by a 9-volt battery, which we plug in here, and this still works, and the 9-volt battery lasts almost forever. It's great. If it's powered by a 9-volt battery, there can't be any hum coming out of one of these things either. So that's a great feature. And look, it does up to 4 microphones. There's 4 separate controls. If I flip this into stereo, then it becomes a left and a right situation. So you can have 2 mics on the left and 2 mics on the right, or I can flip it to mono and it's 4 mics going through. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do this. Here's the outputs. There's a stereo output, just your basic phono plugs, and there's the microphone inputs, just these big, I think they're called 1/4-inch plugs. And we'll look inside at the fantastic circuitry that makes all this happen. And there it is. Okay, so if you look hard, you can see a couple of transistors down here. There's 4 capacitors across there, some resistors here, and the switches and the volume controls. And that's about it. There's nothing in here. Next to nothing inside here. And that's really why I wanted to show it to you, because this thing does its job with next to no circuitry inside it. So let's set it aside now. My good old reliable microphone mixer. Actually, I have 2 of these, and they have served me well, and that's why I still have them handy, because I still pull them out from time to time. Now let's take a look at this. This is the microphone mixer that I was using up until very recently when it broke, and that's why it's out here. I'm going to try to repair it today. So this is basically a 2-channel microphone mixer. It's only got 2 inputs for microphones. Actually, these are the outputs. The inputs are here on the front, here and here. So the 2 inputs are separate. There's no way to switch this to mono or anything like that. It doesn't really have the features that this little one has. But man, it's got a lot of buttons on it, doesn't it? And all these wild red lights and all kinds of cool stuff. Just these two level controls. There isn't even an on-off switch on the front of this, which is kind of weird in a way. So once I plug it in, it's on. But here's where it gets even stranger. Let's look inside it here. It's jam-packed with circuitry. Look at this thing. Now just, keeping in mind this guy here. Look at that. Oh my God, isn't that unbelievable? There's got to be 1,000 components in here. They're jammed in. There's rows and rows and rows of resistors. There's chips all through it. Look at all these devices here. Now this does have a power supply in it. Here it is down at this end. Because it plugs in the wall using a wall wart. Okay, that's how it gets its power. And look, what the heck is that? There's a vacuum tube inside this. That's a 12AX7 dual triode vacuum tube. I'm pretty sure that's in here so that they can make the claim that there's a tube inside. I'm not sure it provides any significant benefits in terms of audio, since basically all these devices, all amplifiers, should be essentially invisible. They shouldn't have any effect on the signal. Whatever comes in, something identical should be going out. There's no need to do anything special, but wow, look at this thing. Isn't that unbelievable? Man, it's just packed with stuff. And this works really well. Don't get me wrong. This really works nicely, and I hope to be using it again. So the problem is this control right here. And what happened was the other day when I was revamping my audio system so I could put on headphones. Here they are. Here I can put on these wireless headphones and pop them on my head and be listening to what's going on in here. I spent about an hour figuring that out, and then when I was all done, I reached over to just adjust this volume control, and it broke right on the spot. So everything I'd done was kind of down the drain because I was counting on this. So I spent another couple hours switching around my audio, and you're listening to a different microphone mixer right now that's carrying my voice. Wow, that's 3 hours thrown away on getting back to where I was, more or less. But I do want to try to fix this now. And wow, pretty sure I have to lift the board right out. And there's lots of lots of problems with doing that. Wow, now I'm really hesitant because of all these fittings. That are on the board that go out holes on the back here, switches and all this stuff. And then on the front there's all this stuff sticking out also on the board. How do you manage to get the board in and out of here? Looks like I have to remove the front panel. Even that looks a little problematic. Wow. I have to remove the front panel to free it from all these components. And then loosen off the board with all its hold down screws. And then lift the board out this way to get at the bottom to replace this part. That's what's got to happen. And I do not have an exact replacement. The part that's here, the part that needs to be replaced is a 10K pot, and this is a 10K pot, but it's a double. There's only a single down here. So I'm going to have to monkey around with this thing to get it to fit appropriately. And it may also not be the right height. The shaft may not even come through the hole. And I'm looking at lots of difficulties with doing this. The knob may not fit on. Oh, it does. That's great. So, I think I got to release all these screws here on the front. So I'm going to do that. And when I come back, we'll be also be recording at a different setting. Okay, now as I mentioned, I've changed the resolution. So what you should be seeing now is a more detailed image. I think you'll see lots of stuttering, all that kind of stuff that all my videos have had on them for the last while. So basically I'm trading off the stuttering. Oh boy. How's that supposed to come off? So this shaft, and these two push buttons here in combination are really not making this too possible. Okay, from here, maybe I have to loosen up the board now. Yeah, I think I gotta loosen the board. This whole thing comes up, and then the panel will. Well, even then, will it come off? Well, let's see. That's my only next step, though. I'm gonna take out all these hold down screws. Where are they? One there, one there. Take those guys out, and we'll see what happens. Oh, I guess I gotta release this too. These. Oh, this one's already loose. Huh. Now it's got 4 outputs here. It doesn't really have 4 outputs. It has 2 outputs that go on to your amplifier. Then the other 2 things are for mute buttons. So I could arrange a push button. This is what would happen in a studio. And if I had to cough or clear my throat, I could push this button, mute the microphone, clear my throat, and then release the button. Nobody would ever know. And that goes on all the time on radio and recordings. But I don't need a mute button in here because you can go ahead and listen to me cough and hack, sneeze and everything. So I think I'm going to rewire these to be actual outputs, or inputs rather, I'm saying, so I can plug in my microphones right into there. Rather than these front panel, I don't have this kind of plug. Previously I had them wired right in. So okay, so let's take out that panel there. Again, I'm going to come back with a different so what I've done here is I've given you the low resolution smooth version to start with. Then this segment has been the high resolution, I'm guessing not smooth. You see, when I look at my computer and I see the images on my computer, they're smooth. I can't see what is actually being recorded onto my hard drive until I'm posting it later. So that's a bit of the challenge here. But I'm going to come back now with a resolution somewhere in the middle of these 2 extremes, a very high and the lowest. Okay, so another thing that happens with the video is depending upon the, look at this, out it comes. Oh, I gotta pull this plug out here. As I change the resolution settings on that, I'm also changing the ultimate size of the file I have to handle after I shoot the video. And at high resolution, the file becomes enormous. The very highest resolutions I can generate files here of 500 megabytes a minute. So a minute of video would actually consume 500 megabytes. So a couple of minutes and I'm up in the gigabyte range. Those are huge files and they're hard to manage. So that's another trade-off. What that results in for me is a lot more work on the video side, and I don't want to do a lot more work on the video side. I really want to be fixing stuff here in my shop. I don't really want to be fixing my video equipment like this audio board either. But at least I'm fixing something here. Trying anyway. So now I'm in the middle. The resolution is what is the resolution? The resolution is something like 854 by I cannot remember. Let's see if I can see it. No. While I'm recording, I can't look at these values. So I'm somewhere in the middle between the 720 and the 480. So now, can we get this front panel off? Do we even need to get this front panel off? You know, maybe not. Oh, if I just bend the board a bit. Oh, that's a good idea. There we go. Nothing like bending the circuit board. I'll get this off. I'll never get it back on. Okay, so for now, I'm going to leave it on. Just leave it on loose. And we'll worry about removing this guy here. Oh, man. So it's this bracket here is soldered pretty securely to the board, and then there's leads underneath. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we can see the soldering here. Soldered top and bottom. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, this won't be so easy to get out. I think the first thing I'll do is I'll try to suck away the solder on the actual terminal connections here. There's hardly any solder there. Oh, gonna need my soldering iron on. And let's see if my okay. Look at that, I have my headphones on so I can actually hear my voice. That's, believe it or not, that's a new thing for me here in the shop. So I'm listening for soldering iron buzzes and stuff like that. Seems pretty good. Okay. Let's go on this. Oh, I'm going to have to let my soldering iron warm up a bit. So I'm going to switch back now. The next video clip will be done at the lower resolution of 640 by 480. Once again, so you can see it's the same as the original when I started. That's what I'll. Okay, so I'm back with a middle resolution, and you know what I'm attempting to find out here is how low can I go, since the performance gets better as I go down in resolution, and still produce a satisfyingly detailed image for you. So that's what I'm hoping you're going to help me with here. Now, let's free up, or remove rather, the solder here as best we can. Now, if I had some solder braid, this might go a little easier. True enough. The real problem won't be these leads. Is going to be the soldered in brackets, soldered top and bottom. Another thing I'm doing I don't normally do here in terms of video is I'm letting the camera you're looking through right now focus by autofocus. I usually find, especially on more close-ups, it never stops hunting for focus. But, I cannot look up at the screen all the time and watch what's transpiring, so in this video I'm counting on you to let me know about stuff like that. And hey, this is basically my 1-year anniversary at seriously making videos or making a YouTube channel. So a year ago, I gave myself a challenge to arrive a year from then, which is now, with 1,000 videos on YouTube. And hey, I came really close. Close enough that I'm declaring victory. I think I'm around 960 videos. So somehow I reached that impossible goal. Now I only wish they'd all been super good quality, because if you watch all my videos, you'll see they change as the months go by, and I try different techniques and different arrangements. Okay, so now we gotta get at those. That did pretty good. Oh, a lot of the solder got sucked from below, I think. I'm not sure I got anything on that one. Let's see how loose this thing is. If it's loose at all, probably not. So again, in terms of video quality, I'm hoping that the lower setting, where I am now, produces a high enough quality image that everybody will be happy. And I'll just stop trying to produce high definition video, which I sort of concluded is really only critical on a very large screen television. Certainly not of any use on things like tablets, small screens. That most of you are watching me on your computer screens. I can see this because YouTube provides lots of statistics, so I know about half my video views are on computer screens, just like the ones I have here. I think this is going to be a bit of a pry and lift, pry and lift, pry and lift, and melt and all that kind of stuff over and over just to get it out. It's amazing that this broke. And it does stick out the front with a knob on it, so it's a target for being banged, but I don't ever remember banging this, ever. Surely it's broken right inside here. I need to get a hook in here so I can apply some lift. Without pushing against adjacent components and stuff like that. Oh, it's right down on the board, tight. Okay, I got a little bit there. One way to get these things out when there's so many soldered in points is to weaken each one at a time, each solder point, and try to turn it into a cold solder joint. Banging here. I don't know if I had any success here. I was leaning up on a transistor there. Don't want to do that. Wow. It's in there pretty snug. Let's give you a better close-up.